Hello and welcome into the latest edition of ESPN FC. Shaka and Stevie are back for more. We've also got Frank Leboeuf and Kieran Gibbs joining us. He waited 5 days until Arsenal dropped points and decided to show his face again here. So we must turn our attention, shall we, to the title odds and the title race as Premier League swings back into action this weekend. It really is heating up. Manchester City are now favourites again. Obviously, Arsenal do still have the points on City at the moment, but City have that game in hand and the two will still face off. So we saw a bit of a tumble in this final run-in, Kieran, in that Liverpool game at Anfield. How are the nerves right now for you?
No. The nerves are fine, Kay. They're fine. I haven't changed my stance at all. They were totally dominant at Anfield. They were brilliant. And as scary as City are right now, it's still theirs for the taking. I think the only thing that's going to get in the way at this point is themselves. I think they're miles better than every other team, bar City, in the Premier League. And I think what we saw last weekend was frustration from Liverpool in the end. They had to resort to getting physical, getting dirty, because it was the only thing that they had left in their armour. And when you have these types of games, like the smallest thing can shift the games, the momentum of the games. And I think Mikel, for the rest of the season, will just be gun-ho on making sure that the boys keep their heads in those situations. Like if I'm Mikel in that situation for the rest of the season, I'm turning around and saying if anyone gets booked for dissent or violent conduct or whatever it is, then you're 6 weeks' wages, or you're not playing for me again, because that's how important it is. Like, you just don't want anything silly at this stage of the season, because they know they're better than every other team and they've proved it. So I just think that if they can just stick to football, they'll be fine. They'll bring it home.
Stevie, on what we've just heard from Kieran there, Arteta really making sure that he drills home to these players the trouble they could be in if they lose their focus.
Yeah, I think that's a clear one. There's no question. What I like about Arteta, and what I think Arteta will do, is he will be driving home every single thing that he's been saying since that documentary all the way through to now. Because the reason they've been so good, as Kieran's saying, is because of all the things that Arteta started out telling them and driving home. And you can guarantee that between then and now, that's all he's done. The message has been told and told and told until it is driven into the back of the head. And so I hope he doesn't change anything. I don't expect him to. It's concentrate. All the things that we've talked about for the last 18 months is what you do on the field. Exactly the same things as you've done all season. Yes, there have been games where it hasn't worked out, but there's not been a game where we've gone away from what's got us here. And if we do that, as Kieran says, other than City, they're way better than any other team. And so if they do all the things they've been doing and don't think about winning the Premier League, then they'll be fine. Because there's no question, I've done it myself. I can actually tell you the twice I did it. I did it once in '86 when, with 2 games to go, the crowd started making a noise. We were away at Leicester, and all of a sudden the crowd were going crazy. And I lost my concentration. And I made a couple of mistakes that could have been costly. And I quickly got myself back into it. And I got myself back into it quickly because I already had a winner's medal. I had the experience to be able to fall out of that concentration and get back in it. And I did it again in '92. QPR at home, we had to beat them. We're 2-0 up, we had 10 minutes to go. Same thing. All of a sudden, it crossed my mind about winning the title. And again, I got myself quickly back in it. So Arsenal's players can't afford to slip into thinking about winning the Premier League. And the only thing that Arteta has to do is be on them, make sure they're concentrated on every single thing that he's been telling them for 18 months. And if they do that, I'm with Kieran. I think they'll win the Premier League.
You just said something key there, because you had the experience. How much of a factor is that going to play? This is a young Arsenal side, Shaka. Not many of these players know what it's like to be in a title race. Almost all of them. You know, there's only a few that have actually been in this situation.
Right. I think that'll be key to Arsenal's title run in here if they do cross the line. How they manage not just games but manage stadiums, manage atmospheres. Because to Kieran's point, I think as good as Arsenal were from the time Granit Xhaka got himself in that ridiculous mix-up with Trent Alexander-Arnold and the stadium came alive, Arsenal just crumbled. And now, as I look at Arsenal's remaining games and kind of reflect on the season so far, you lose at Old Trafford, where maybe you don't manage the crowd as well as you should. You lose at Anfield, where you don't manage the crowd as well as you should.
No, they drew. It was a draw.
Draw. Should have lost, let's be honest. But you now have to go to the Etihad. You also have to go to St James's Park, which, as they found out, is as good as an atmosphere as any. They found that out last season, as good an atmosphere as any. So how you manage crowds, how do you manage those atmospheres, I think is a steep learning curve for Arsenal to figure out, because they got it wrong at Anfield. And Arteta now has to kind of bring them back to not just doing what they do well and do well so naturally, but how you manage the opposition and the opposition's crowd. Because those two games, I don't think Arsenal, I don't see them dropping points against anybody else, but dropping points against those two, dropping 6 points, could be the difference between them finishing first and second.
So how do you coach mental strength then, Frank?
Well, you make sure that the players are all spot on and they're all optimistic about what they're gonna or they could achieve. You're not the first in the Premier League with 73 points, 30 games played, randomly. That's impossible. So you have to get on the certainty that you have and make sure that everybody is in that frame of mind, knowing that yes, you lost some games, but you were able to react straight after. Yes, you drew at Anfield Road, but at first you were dominant, and it was against a very good Liverpool team that you conceded, or you didn't get the 3 points at the end of the game. So it's because you're a strong team. So you have to make sure that as a coach, you get the right messages to the players, that it's always full of certainties and don't show any doubt. Don't in your speeches say something that we can question mark, any ideas to the players. Everything has to be positive, everything has to be sure, and the players going to follow you. And I'm sure those players, they show because of their talent, the way they want to work together, they can achieve something together. Because so far, they still are 6 points ahead of Manchester City.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.